Paranormal activity is often found in these places of dwelling that have been abandoned.
Abandoned places, lost places.
These are little dark structures that stand like tombstones over the grave of memories. These are the types of places that you can feel when you're there. I felt it the first time I was ever at the Pigeon House. So we decided to take a chance on it.
No promises, no expectations.
The very first thing we do as protocol is to sweep over a site for any EMF or unusual temperature readings that you need to be aware of while investigating.
Temperature 75.5 degrees. I'll try to get some baseline readings here.
We get nothing.
Check this.
0.
Because I checked that extension cord, there was nothing in there.
Nothing at the switch.
It was an abandoned house with no electricity in it. 0?
Yep, I'm checking the furnace out.
There's no electricity in this building now.
Okay, I'm getting readings, dude. And they disappeared.
867. 0.
Okay. Oh. Oh.
Is there somebody here with us?
There's a field right over here. Look.
There was something producing EMF field in that spot.
This is a pretty significant and steady reading in one specific part of the sandstone wall in the basement.
What's it coming from? It's okay. It's going down over here. If I go up, it goes down. If I go down here, it goes down. Right here, it goes up. It's when I'm near this
But there's no electricity
line
in there.
I traced this piece of Romex to the other end and it was just hanging there, not connected to anything.
Wow.
Marty moves off to continue the EMF sweep, and then all of a sudden,
Dude, it's gone.
What do you mean it's gone?
it stopped.
The readings totally vanished.
Oh my God, look.
EMF fields, if they're being radiated from a source like a wire or some sort of transmission line or something, you would expect to be somewhat steady reading, maybe fluctuate a little bit, but I mean, those readings vanished. I mean, completely.
Let's go do a sweep upstairs.
It's a busy street.
Outside contamination.
There's sidewalks outside, there's a lot of traffic. So we placed a microphone outside on the porch of the Pigeon House, control the contamination issues that we conduct our EVP session confidently.
Yeah, the street is right outside behind us.
I'm getting a steady point 01, point 02 up here.
Okay.
Kind of fluctuating between the two.
Okay.
Oh, it's going up.
You find some similar readings upstairs.
Point 10, point 11. Is there somebody here with me? I got a point 09, point 08, point 03, point 00. everybody up here checking me out? As soon as I said that, jump from .00 to .05. I really got so good. Goosebumps. Got chills running up and down my body.
While I was upstairs, I got this feeling that there was really somebody up there with me.
Alright, come down.
We're unable to draw any conclusions about the fluctuating EMF fields in the upper level. So we take our investigation back to the main level. We set up this experiment that we intended to accomplish.
We wanted to do this experiment with us doing a EVP session while sitting in a binaural field.
Binaurals are two tones that are separated from each other. For example, if you took a 110 hertz tone in your left ear, which is around the pitch of an A, there is your 115 hertz tone, and you can hear between the two of them this oscillation, which is a 5 hertz difference in this example. And that oscillation entrains your brain waves to that rhythm. The human brain usually operates in about 4 modes of brain waves. You know, you have beta at the top, and then you have your alpha down into the theta, and then below that even you have the deltas, which take you into REM. In fact, the closer you get to flatlining these brain waves, the closer you get to death. One way to simulate the wake-sleep kind of liminal threshold where people have out-of-body experiences and paranormal experiences to create these binaurals which can entrain the brainwave to those low brainwave frequencies. In addition to the beats that your brainwaves are entraining to, you've also got the frequency tones that are used. These pitches, which make up the major scale, are used to produce the 12-tone system that we use to make music from, are based on the solfeggio tones, which resonate and coordinate with the chakra system. And I chose tones that would specifically stimulate the frontal lobes to help support maybe a paranormal experience, and that was the experiment.
We took 2 boom boxes and set them up on either side of the room. One boom box was playing the low end of the binaural. The other boom box was playing the high end of the binaural. We fire these things up and then sat there in the middle of this field listening to these binaural beats. We did not document any EMF field in this room earlier in the night. Our millimeter is reading a constant 0.01 EMF field. And it was so hot in this house.
Although the temperature was only 75 degrees, we were absolutely cooking upstairs. I mean, it felt like at least 90 to 100 degrees in that living room. The experiment, it's hard to say whether or not it had an effect on us, but stuff did start happening.
Can you make a sound?
The CD player skips once. Suddenly, the CD skips again, and we hear the boombox actually move on what it's sitting on.
Our CD player physically shifted in its place. Like it scraped on the ground.
Something shifted.
device in my hand that I'm going to set on the floor that you can manipulate the energy around and make it say a word for us. Was that you that made the CD skip?
The Ovilus that we had with us immediately spit out, almost like
Pass.
whatever was there with us, if anything was there with us, was saying, I'm not going to answer your question.
It's probably just my overactive imagination, but I still feel like someone's sitting there watching us. Get the weird feeling with what has gone on so far this night that we were dealing with something that was checking us out, but didn't want to really engage with us and didn't want to answer my question. Flash. As we're continuing this experiment, the Ovilus says, and when it says this,
What did it say?
thermal. Marty takes the temp gun and starts taking temperature to the basement. This is like a 6-degree temperature drop. Could this be what the Ovilus meant when it was manipulated to say thermal?
There was definitely thermal weird stuff happening in that house. I was so hot, felt way hotter than 75 degrees. Maybe that's what the thermal was referring to. We had a good long binaural session, and when it was over, Tom did a walk around and he tried to take some pictures in the basement.
Can we review pictures on this thing? Look at that. We need to.
I was like, what was that rude noise? We couldn't find the source.
We need to. It was definitely a liquid noise. Did that come from your boombox?
We hear this wet, explosive, ejective sound.
It sounded disgusting.
I thought it came from.
What's this thing?
That's an air compressor.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, because it definitely sounded like water going down a drain or something.
Start packing up our equipment.
Oh, now I can't shut up. One of our cameras malfunctioned. What's up with this?
And the damn thing won't shut off. Everything we tried to make this camera stop recording did not work.
Night jazz won't turn off. We ended up having to take the batteries out of it to get it to shut off. None of the buttons on the thing were operable anymore.
We're gonna have to take the batteries out.
That's very odd, man. It doesn't do that.
So we grabbed up all our stuff and we left.
So now the only thing left on
It's running still.
I get home that night, pulling the boombox out of the trunk. In the back of the boombox, just like this goop pours out of the battery compartment. And I'm like, what is this?
They were all brand new. They were all the same brand of battery.
The batteries had split open. I mean, they exploded in there.
That is the only time in my entire life I have heard batteries explode. We need to.
That it happened at all, much less that it happened on a paranormal investigation. Much less on a paranormal investigation that we documented anomalous EMF activity and had something physical in the room move right beside us. I mean, that is pretty remarkable.
Was the Ovilus hit when it said telling us that it was throwing all this heat into this battery to make it explode? We have a series of very strange events.
It was like, wow, we're going to have to go back to this place. There's something special about it.
Good. Go ahead and walk through there, Tom.
Ow!
There you go.
We go back with one of our associate investigators, Nicole.
Take out our millimeters and start taking temperature and EMF readings all over the house.
59.7 degrees Fahrenheit, and we are getting 0.0 baseline milligauss. Basement? Starting basement?
Going right down to the basement first.
Where we got this EMF field.
Walking by the shadows right there. I'm dangerous against the spiders.
I'm getting zeros.
No EMF at all.
Yeah, this is the hot spot that we had before.
Nothing this time.
I'm getting nothing. This is the exact spot. Whoa. The exact spot. Whoa. I thought I just saw like a flick of light.
All of a sudden I see this sparkle of light. Maybe it was a trick of my eyes or something, but I'm flummoxed. My partners didn't see it, and we missed it on video.
We go back upstairs.
And our shadow detector begins malfunctioning.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard the creak on the stair too.
So, the battery on this camera just said it was drained entirely and shut off. And now we are back on. We're at 1/4.
Brand new batteries in this.
So the weirdness has already begun. Take the sweep upstairs. Okay. Still, there's no EMF now on the main level.
First floor, the second floor. The EMF was just dead.
0, 0, 0.
We're gonna go outside for a minute and let you get used to the stuff that we have set up. The devices with the red lights.
Wait.
Shall we? The brooms. What is it? Should be called the broom house, not the pigeon house.
This time we decided to go outside and let whatever's in the house get used to having all of our equipment set up.
Then the exact moment we step outside, our camera in the basement fixed on the stairwell picks up a sparkle of light. Just like the one that I had described seeing in the basement. Right there on camera.
We actually got a sparkle of light under the stairs in the basement. Also about this time, we get this weird anomalous mist on video.
This light anomaly slides through the camera view diagonally. And, we could be talking about a piece of dust or hair here. We could be talking about something more. But some minute after we're outside, there's sounds in the house. Unexplained movement sounds. And we're not in the house. After some time, we re-entered the house.
Try to do this without kicking over Please, Chris.
Please.
You are doing well, and you are through.
Marty and Nicole stay upstairs. I head downstairs to conduct an EVP session. And I get a slight hit on the K2 meter.
Got a K2 hit.
But on the back wall of the basement, I see a sparkle of light myself. Just a quick flash of white light.
Did you influence the collapse of this house at the last minute?
I just got a major case of the chills.
Why don't you make the thing on the stairs go off?
I asked it, set the REM pod off, and then decide I'm going to join the rest of the team upstairs. I got upstairs, and I round the corner and I head in the living room and sit down the ottoman. Our camera catches a glint of light underneath the stairs. And a couple seconds after that, the REM pod goes on.
That sounded like the REM pod.
Yeah, because I left it right there on the bottom step.
Oh, you did?
It's not sustained. It's just a couple of blips. Blip, blip.
The K2 went off once. And I thought I saw like a light sparkle on the far wall.
We switch places. Marty and Nicole go in the basement, do an EVP session. I sit upstairs, do an EVP session.
Can you tell me your name?
Marvel at the wonderfulness of their pentagram they made out of birdseed for the ghosts of the pigeons that live there.
Mr. Club, are you here with me?
We're using all the information available to us to reach out and communicate with whatever might be in this
What
house.
did you think about the last family that lived here?
Despite our best efforts, it was reluctant or unwilling or did not want to communicate or interact with us directly. We had control mics to use to rule out contamination. We did a very good job, and there were no disembodied voices that I can definitively report to you.
Alright, man. Let's go ahead and pack it up. Our curiosity is piqued about this place. From the first investigation with the EMF field, the battery exploding, to the second investigation, no EMF fields, the REM pod hit, constantly seeing the sparkle of light.
With all these things in mind and the evidence that we've collected there in the past, I thought it was really worth another go.
Light. Troy, can you give me some light?
Where?
Basement.
Oh, you want me to come with you?
There's a spirit in there that didn't want to communicate directly with us. I figure by leaving the equipment in the house and removing ourselves from the situation, we might have a better chance of capturing activity. We set up a video camera pointed at our REM pod with a K2 meter right upstairs on the main level. And then we set up our Rex motion infrared camera downstairs in the basement along with a voice recorder.
And left it all night.
And we left. We locked up the place, we bolted it. You get a good nice recording, the sound of this door being shut. We would bang the latch into place in order to padlock it. So that house is good and secure, and there was nothing in it. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning when we left all this stuff there.
You have this continuous shot of the living room towards the back of this house. start having weird stuff happen.
We get a small frequency pop. One of these digital artifacts that really doesn't belong in the audio channel on a completely stable, completely static voice recorder left in the basement.
Frequency pops often occur as a precursor for paranormal activity.
That transfer of energy somehow causes a sort of transient pop to occur in the audio channel. It's like a sort of shock wave, like a sonic boom. And in this case, immediately after the frequency pop that we recorded, you also get this little click on it. The same thing happens in the camera upstairs. Almost like somebody flipped it.
And then a little bit later, the camera catches a weird light anomaly underneath this table.
You get this pretty large spot for several frames that doesn't move in this area of the camera, and it was only recorded the one time.
Then we record 3 light anomalies.
These sparkles of light, and this time they're really intense. You see a red glint of light, and then off to the right you get a green or a blue flick of light, and then a little later after the first two, right next to the REM pod, you get this blue flick of light.
3 glints of light. You see them form, be real bright, and then disappear.
Not one, not two, but 3 of them consecutively. Something this camera has never recorded. In dark environments, cameras can matrix in weird ways and do weird stuff. We filmed hundreds of hours in the dark. Never recorded anything like this. This is being recorded in a house where the investigators themselves
This is the exact spot.
had seen sparkles
Whoa.
of light with their own eyes.
I thought I saw like a light sparkle on the far wall.
So I think that's really interesting.
On towards morning after the sun comes up. Then stuff really starts going crazy.
It starts with little unidentified sounds that sound like they could be right outside the house, maybe on the porch.
Followed by an unidentified voice that our camera recorded.
For the first time in the Pigeon House, we actually record a voice.
It was loud enough to be recorded on both the camcorder upstairs and the voice recorder that we had in the basement. I've listened, I can't really tell you what it says.
Has a sort of sing-songy cadence to it. We feel like we have a very strong candidate for an EVP here in the way that it's so rude, and that it only says this one thing. You know, if it sounded like the voices were approaching and then going away as they were getting further away from the house, it'd be like, yeah, okay, that's contamination, no problem. But in this case, it's just this one thing that's said, and it kind of reverberates throughout the house.
For somebody to have made this contamination, we feel like they would have had to have snuck up on the porch, made a 5-syllable sentence, and then snuck away. And then a little bit later, we recorded a series of clicks on the camera. Small clicks, bigger clicks.
And then we get this second voice. It's low toned, it's different from the first one. Our recorder in the basement didn't pick up this voice, so it was very quiet. It sounds very close to the camera in the way that it reverberates inside of the room.
And then after this, we got a second frequency pop on the voice recorder in the basement.
Followed by more clicks and taps on the camera upstairs.
Smaller clicks, bigger clicks.
One after another after another. Click right on the plastic shell of the camera upstairs. And then as dawn begins to brighten, we start hearing scrapes.
These noises are growing more and more intense. Closer and closer to the camera. Then we record a third voice. Followed by what really sounds like a footstep.
And then all hell starts breaking loose. The sounds become increasingly more restless, as if somebody's becoming agitated.
Just crazy that there's all these movement noises in an empty house. And then we pick up a fourth voice, 4 or 5 syllables. Sounds different than the others.
And the voice is quiet enough to where if that was outside going on, it would have been muffled. But the voice isn't muffled. It sounds like it's right in the room.
Just out of view in the camera.
But despite all of the activity happening in this room, the REM pod never went off.
REM pod goes off when something interacts with the field it produces through its antenna.
The K2 meter never went off.
The K2 meter reads EMF fields.
You see, throughout the course of this time lapse, it's just sitting there. I'm sure that's the first thing people are going to ask. We operate on the principle that paranormal activity draws upon some sort of energy. There's a transfer of energy to allow it to be able to manifest. And so the fact that you don't see the K2 meter go off or the REM pod go off simply means that we know that that activity wasn't drawing upon EMF fields around that equipment. It was drawing upon some other energy spectrum. And this could be temperature or radiation or ionization or maybe RF or sound waves that we don't have the equipment to be able to register for you, unfortunately. But we can show you this activity. One day when we get the sort of equipment that we need in order to look into the other energy spectrums, we're going to find the answer.
As this camera's sitting here, it records these frantic noises for about 45 minutes, which sounds like everything from a relentless scrounging to things being kicked over, boards being broken.
45 minutes of this cacophony of movement and sound. Unconnected, disembodied type noises occurring all around.
Truly outstanding video.
A variety of sounds that are so random that I can only ration in my brain that would be the sounds that a human would make, except it sounds too scattered to be associated with any one specific task that somebody's doing. It sounds like it's messing with this over here and kicking that over there, breaking this over here. It's total chaos. Meanwhile, you're watching this video. There's nothing to see. Our cameras recorded that whole time. They recorded no one entering the house. You never hear the sound of that door latch being thrown or the door being opened.
And the front door is the only access point to the building. And it's padlocked shut.
The light's coming through the windows behind the camera. And anything moving in that front room, your shadow would have been recorded, the light would have changed. You would have seen it reflected on polished items that are in the room. But visually, the room stays totally still, totally undisturbed. You're not hearing any breathing noises or coughs or any noises that would be associated with a human, or any growls or anything that would be associated with an animal. It's just the noises. These disembodied noises.
These sounds continue for several more minutes, and then our camera upstairs shuts off. And when this happens, all the noises and voices that were recorded in the living room stop.
And the house becomes totally silent again. The voice recorder's running downstairs, doesn't hear anything else. And then right before our voice recorder shuts down, we get one last little
Right before it shuts off.
I really believe these noises were the result of a paranormal occurrence that was happening in the morning of that investigation. There's a connection between our equipment having been set up there and the activity that took place on that morning. I believe that that activity is intelligent. Because it all stopped the moment that our camera turned off. It was like it was agitated that that stuff was there. You put it all together, and this is like way too many occurrences to be just coincidence.
Dude, it's gone.
What do you mean it's gone?
We strongly believe
Oh my god, look.
there's paranormal activity going on in this house.
The Pigeon House is absolutely haunted. The house is condemned. It's probably going to be torn down soon. And I'm concerned about what's going to happen to that energy, to that spirit, when the house is gone.
Pigeon gram.
It's not a mouse.